Good evening, Nick Inman from VolumeProfileTrader.com. On Sunday, August 5th, uh, S&P markets all rallied on Friday. Um, big reversal, new highs for the S&P, new highs for the Nasdaq, and let's see, Dow, yep, new highs, or it looks pretty close to it. Um, and then the Russell 2000, not quite. However, it is bouncing off the 233 moving average. Still have a downtrend here, but you do have relative strength, and when I mean relative, I mean look at what's gone on. We've gone down, up, down, up, down, and now a higher low, up. So this is your first sign of the buyers fighting back in the Russell. Now, will they win? I'm not sure. It's really hard. One thing that's tough about this is, if you're looking at a really small time frame, which you should be from the buyer standpoint of this Russell move. And the reason why I say that is because, there isn't much ceiling here if you're buying off of these lows. You don't know if it's going to stop, and I'm just picking out a level here, 795, which is, trend line resistance or close to it. You don't know if it's necessarily going to stop here. What if the market rolls over and, you lose out on that trade? There's that possibility. And that's why, if you're buying near these lows, call it below 770, then you were probably, a happy camper. But the reason, you're more comfortable holding for a potential breakout move versus if you bought at the end of Friday, your window of opportunity is slightly skewed only because there's this possibility of some type of retest. The volume from Friday, it was, let's call it average. It was nothing to write home about for the Russell, but I'm just showing you an example. So if you're expecting this, just realize that there's the possibility of this still. You can easily have a triple bottom here and then a breakout. I don't think you can rule that out. Just realize that, if you want to see a breakout in the Russell and you're buying from right here, right now, expecting a move, let's just say up to 815, just realize that it could easily come back, test 760 before it goes, or not 760, but 770 before it tries to go up to, say, 820 or whatever. Just to show you the VIX, looks like it's falling off a cliff here. This 21 level or so, was pretty solid resistance. Only for a little bit, let's call it a month's time, did we trade above it, but we've been spending the majority of our time below it. But anyways, let's get into the analysis with S&Ps. We still have our huge high volume area, which continues to trade pretty well. There's resistance on the top, pretty much support on the bottom. We, dip below it. Now we got above it. Now we got a higher low. At where this balance range was, and this is pretty important too, where this balance range was, the point of control for the month, call it, and I know it's lower than this. I'll show it to you on an hourly chart. Okay, last month's point of control, 49.75, let's call it, and look at where these lows were. Look where these lows were. Look at where resistance was, support, resistance, resistance, breakout, come down, resistance. So you can see how important this level is. And, now we're just continuing to hold it. And this is why I said on, looks like this was Thursday, if the market stays above 1348 to 1350, stay long. Don't necessarily get short this market. And I know personally, I faded this move with some, not big positions by any means, but I faded some of this move. And if I recall, I think everyone, except for my hedge on Friday, every one of those worked out. And the only one that didn't was I bought the SPY 136 by 135 put spreads into, basically Friday's close, just in case the jobs number was bad. So basically, I'm in a net long portfolio where I took all of my profits from the shorts off on Thursday. Now I want to remain hedged in a way because this isn't, although 1348, 1350, you call that for support, you have to make sure that you insure yourself in case you're wrong when you have a steady portfolio. I'm not talking about sitting 90% in cash, 80% in cash. I'm saying if you're even half invested, keep both eyes on, look at both sides of the market. And if you start to see, unless if we're in a clear uptrend or a clear downtrend, if you start to see, you're at the top end of the range, look at positions that aren't doing well, or not positions, but names that aren't doing well that you don't mind trading, long or short. Just keep that in mind. That's why I bought the 136 by 135, those put spreads, and they expired worthless. I paid, I want to say, between 25 and 30 cents for each for them, and it didn't work out. But the payout, if I was right, would have been about 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 3.5 to 1. So it would have done a great job protecting my portfolio, and I only risked a small amount to do so. And I think that's very important to take into account of. Look for cheap ways to protect your portfolio, especially if you get used to those weekly options. Those could help. But overall, I think, and this is, I don't know, I don't necessarily know, to be honest, if we're trying to break out here or if this is just going to be some type of, channel that we trade in, which progressively got weaker towards the top and we fall out. All I know is we have, and I'm just connecting the dots here, we have trend line support here. You could draw even one up here. And this is just to kind of get the slope of what's going on. We had resistance every time right here, or pretty dang close. You can even go back to here. Look, okay, call this a resistance zone. When it got to this level, sell. Here we are again. So this is the thing. Are we going to break out? Basically, a breakout above 1395, 1400 is what you're really looking for. Anything else is a chance for a potential reversal. But if we get above 1400, I would have to say that the chances of a push towards 1420, the recent highs, is a very good, very good probability. So we'll have to wait and see. Next week will be pretty big. Do we fill this gap? If we do, then maybe you look, to stay more market neutral. If we continue to rise and we make new highs relative to Fridays, then I think that you can stay optimistic to the long side. So I hope that, wasn't too big of an explanation, or I just, trying to help give you an idea of how I'm thinking about the market, because if you form these, ideas around them, especially, if you're using accurate levels like volume profile, and we've seen how accurate they can be, all of a sudden you're trading, well, one, it makes radical improvements, but two, you put yourself in a position where you're always going to profit from any type of volatility in the market, any type of, serious vertical move. Even a minor one you can, do a good job profiting from. And that's what's key, really. You stick with that, and you continue to, get better and better, work your way towards, having a really profitable portfolio, and then, you have that skill for life, and it's not going to go away. Volume won't go away. As long as the buyers and sellers are there, where the highest volume traded price is, the point of control, it will always matter, because people have money on the line at those levels, and they're going to defend their positions. They're going to take those positions off. You don't know, but you know that something's going to happen in those price ranges, and you want to stick with that and continue to improve on that, because that is how you really take your trading to the next level, in my opinion, of course. Let's just show another example. Apple, pretty close to new swing highs here. We're at the top end of the range. So what you ultimately want to see is, will we hold this range from Friday, or will we fall out and retrace down towards, call it 605, 610, 608 actually, in Apple. And it's a very, good possibility. You look at where we're at. The last 3 or 4 times Apple was anywhere near these prices, was it right to be a buyer or seller? It was right to be a seller. So you have to take into account there's the potential for this to pull back, and do this maybe, for 2 weeks. You never know. All you know is, you look at this point of control for last month. As long as we keep getting buying like we do at these levels, then, you can go ahead and defend that position until it does not work. You could also, if you're more than welcome to, try to fade these highs. I don't necessarily recommend it, but at least you have your risk defined, and if it continues to break out, you have your stop in place. If you get hit, too bad, so sad. If you don't and the position works out, nice job. But these volume profile levels put the probabilities on your side, so you can continue to do it with nearly any name. ConocoPhillips, we had a little bit of resistance at the top of this high volume area here. Looking right here, we broke above it, came back down, basically made a double bottom, and pushed up towards the upside. I think that you can continue to look at this channel. You want to see a test of 57, and if we fail there, then you may have a short down back to 55 or so, if that's your type of trade. It's not necessarily mine, but this is just a longer term hold that I want to bring up. We saw a little bit of relative strength in gold, continuation of higher lows. We have flat tops here. Every time price got up here, was it right to be a buyer or seller? And the opposite for the buyers. Every time it got down here, it was right to be a buyer. Now we have a potential higher low. And this is pretty much against last month's high volume area. You see it came down, got the buyers, and you can see it happened 3 times. Price got down below this blue line here. Let's show you what the blue line is. This high volume area here. We actually can redraw it. So now it's the black line. And 3 times, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours we dipped below this level, and you had an opportunity to buy in that high volume area. I'm not saying just go out and buy, but I'm saying you look for a potential buy. Really, if you're looking at an hourly chart, you got it on Friday morning. This was too light of volume to have picked it up here. But Friday morning looked like a good opportunity, and you can see it was good. Let's say you get in at 1600 or so. It was good for a $10 run in gold. You own 1 contract of gold futures. You just pocketed $1,000, so not too bad at all. All right, the euro. We're trying to make a bottom here. It looks like we tested way back down, closed a gap. Just to trade back up, nearly made new highs. The euro is really volatile right now, which means to me that I do think we're close to a potential bottom, which I think can give you the indication that the S&P 1450, and I'm just throwing a number out there. I'm not saying anything special, but if we get above 1417, 1420, we should be good for a run-up. And, you see the dollar. This is a topping out right here. Especially if we fail at this level here. Some type of lower high show you that there's weakness. Last month's point of control looks like it was a pretty good sell. And, you saw follow through to the downside. So pretty impressive trade right there. This looks like a topping pattern though. I'd be looking for 81.50 or so on the dollar, unless if we hold these levels, but we'll have to wait and see. I do think that you can press your bets to the downside though. All right, really, let's go back to the ES. Really, that's about it. Uh, you can see the market is strong right now. Buying dips is the real trade. Uh, you've been able to sell the rips too, and we have. We've made some money on both sides of the market the past couple of months. But right now, the market's showing you that it wants to go higher. NASDAQ 2,700 should be pretty close. We'll have to wait and see if it's next week or the week after. But we should get one last push to the upside in the markets, to say the least. 1,400 on S&P. So I hope that helps. Silver, breaking out here. Well, not breaking out, not at all. But holding support. Came back down basically to the low of this high volume area. Holds it, and now we're seeing nice buying. Whether it moves past these highs, whether it moves above 28.50 or so, 28.40, we'll have to wait and see. But you can define your risk. You can trade these ranges. Just be patient. Take your entries when they come. If they don't come, too bad, so sad. You'll always get another entry. So, anyways, take care. Have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.